Andrew, I think we have to call him Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor now, just Andrew Windsor will do me, and Sarah Ferguson. There's a story in the Express, I think it is, so saying they're rumoured to be considering selling royal valuables. I mean, surely they're not going to have a garage sale when he clears out of that massive mansion he's living in, is he?
It was the removal lorry in the dead of night that really set off the alarms. Under the cover of darkness, loads began leaving Royal Lodge. But for palace officials watching closely, this wasn't just a move. It was the first domino to fall in a crisis they'd feared for months. We're now told that behind the frantic packing, a shocking plan is taking shape, one that has senior royals and their lawyers on highest alert. Because Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson aren't just downsizing. Multiple sources now claim they're preparing to liquidate the family's most private history. Welcome back to Royal Family Daily. If you're new here, we go beyond the headlines to uncover the real stories shaking the monarchy. Hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss a single revelation. So, what exactly is at stake here? This goes far beyond selling off old furniture or excess china. Insiders point to a specific, chilling catalogue of items. We're talking about private, handwritten letters from the late Queen Elizabeth II, correspondence that could contain unfiltered family sentiments, private opinions, raw emotions. We're talking about potential voice recordings, personal jewellery with undocumented provenance, items that might have been intimate gifts rather than official crown property. For the palace, each of these represents a landmine. The appearance of just one on an auction site would trigger what sources call immediate and widespread fallout. The historical and emotional significance is incalculable. One source didn't mince words, accusing Andrew and Sarah of turning the lodge into, quote, some sort of pawn shop, methodically collecting goods for the highest bidder. This deliberate, commercial language is a damning indictment from within the system. It frames their actions not as a distressed clearance, but as a calculated, even cynical operation. But to understand this, you have to look at the perfect storm brewing around them. The pressure is multifaceted and intense. First, the professional and social annihilation. Their royal titles and duties are gone, stripped away in the wake of scandal. Second, the physical eviction. King Charles has finally enforced their removal from the 30-room Windsor mansion, a home that symbolised their status for decades. Third, the brutal financial and spatial reality. Andrew is reportedly downgrading to a much smaller property, described by aides as shoebox-sized. The math doesn't work. You cannot fit a royal lifetime of accumulation into a 5-bedroom house. This creates a desperate need for liquidity and storage. But there's another layer here. Resentment. Being pushed out, forced into a corner. Some observers suggest this potential sale isn't just about money. It's the ultimate act of defiance from a brother who feels he has nothing left to lose. The move itself feeds the chaos. An insider described it as a months-long, room-by-room excavation, stressing, "These aren't the kind of belongings you can sweep into a skip." That slow, painful process creates both the opportunity and the cover to sort, assess, and potentially hide items away from palace view. Buckingham Palace has shifted from concerned monitoring to active crisis management. We understand teams of legal experts and senior private secretaries are now directly involved, their focus razor-sharp on Royal Lodge. Their mission is forensically complex, to create a definitive inventory separating Crown Estate property from private possessions. But in the world of the royals, that line is famously blurred. Was that emerald brooch a gift from the Queen to her son, making it his? Or was it merely on long-term loan from the royal collection, making it the property of the state? A handwritten letter, Is it a family document or a piece of historical record? Every item requires a judgment call, and every call could lead to a legal battle. The palace's absolute red line, stated plainly by sources, is the public sale of private communications and recordings. That scenario is viewed internally as the worst case outcome. It's not just about embarrassment, it's about the irreversible breach of sovereign and family confidence. It would set a catastrophic precedent. The fear isn't abstract. It's about the literal voice of the late Queen, or her private thoughts on paper, being broadcast to the world for a price. This potential fire sale transcends legalities and finances. It represents the final, explosive shattering of a brotherly bond that has been under unimaginable strain. King Charles, we're told, approached the Andrew problem with a heavy heart, but a firm resolve to modernise and protect the monarchy. The removal of titles and security was step one. The eviction was step two. But this? A palace source revealed the depth of the shock. Senior royals always expected the break with Andrew to be difficult, but not on this scale. This accusation reframes the entire conflict. Andrew is no longer just a passive liability to be managed from a distance. He and Sarah are now being portrayed through these insider accounts as active agents in a potential heist of family heritage. The emotional toll on Charles is described as profound. It's the transformation of a family dispute into what feels like an institutional betrayal. The language used by insiders, pawn shop, volatile way yet, isn't the neutral language of courtiers. It's the sound of an establishment unleashing its fury. So, we arrive at a tense, unprecedented standoff. The palace has played its most powerful cards: social exile and now eviction. What leverage do they have left if Andrew decides to call their bluff? The nuclear option is a very public, very messy lawsuit. Imagine the headlines: The Crown versus the Duke of York. It's a spectacle the institution is desperate to avoid, but one they may be forced to initiate to protect assets they deem national treasures. On the other side, Andrew and Sarah hold a form of devastating leverage: the physical possession of these items. Every day that passes with them in control at Royal Lodge increases the risk. The absurd, tragic scene is now set. A prince, once second in line to the throne, potentially sifting through his mother's belongings, while his brother's lawyers draft letters threatening injunctions. It's a collision of the deeply personal and the coldly constitutional. In the end, the battle for Royal Lodge was never about bricks and mortar. It was always about what was stored inside its walls. The treasures, the memories, the tangible pieces of a private history the monarchy guards with its life. Every box loaded onto those midnight lorries contains a potential flashpoint. As one source starkly warned, if this sale plot goes ahead, their departure may end in the most volatile way yet. That word, volatile, says it all. Unpredictable, dangerous, explosive. This story asks a brutal question about what happens when a royal is cut loose with nothing left to lose. Does family loyalty ultimately override personal grievance and financial need? Or are we witnessing the most damaging insider threat to the Windsor dynasty in modern times? I want to know what you think. Could Andrew and Sarah really go through with this? Does the palace have any moves left, or is it too late? Let me know your theories in the comments below. This is one story where public opinion could actually influence the palace's next move. If you found this deep dive into the Royal Lodge crisis revealing, make sure you're part of our community here at Royal Family Daily. We're the channel that connects the dots between the palace walls and the headlines you see. Smash that like button, subscribe for more investigative reports like this, and tap the bell so you're always the first to know when a new story breaks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.